Good morning, genealogy friends. Happy Thursday. I have some news today and a little bit of a discussion, but I am not teaching any specific research tips or notebook tricks today. So, just a heads up in case you were really hoping for that. I am tomorrow, but I'm not going to spoil that surprise. We'll talk about what I'm going to show you tomorrow. I wanted to get on here because I know that some of you have been waiting for updates on the course in my book, and I have a really big update today, and then just a couple other things to talk about. So let's do that. Flip. Good morning. It's been kind of a week. So I had told you guys at the beginning of this week or the end of last week, I can't remember, that I was going to give the book another week because I've been frustrated at how delayed the publishing process has been. The last time that I wrote a book for publication was in 2007. In fact, I wrote a book for teachers on conflict resolution because a lot of what I studied in law school had to do with education, and it doesn't matter, but I wrote a book. And back then it was all about you wrote a book and then you just sort of sent it away and people handled it for you and they published it for you and they kind of kept you abreast. And the publishing industry has gotten a lot faster now. Anyway, I don't need to get into all of it. I thought it was going to be faster than it has been. So I was thinking that by next week, I was definitely going to have an answer for you guys as far as, okay, this is where you get the print edition, or we're only going to do digital edition and we'll have to just wait on the print edition and do it later. And then I thought when the book came out, that was when I could open up the pre-sale for the course so that I could give people the digital book, which isn't going to be included in the course. And we could just, get a list going. And then once January happened, we could start the course. So a number of things have happened and it's fine. It's been a very 2020 week, not in a terrible way, but just very 2020. And among the various things that happened, I had to take my daughter into the hospital yesterday. She's fine. She just has some chronic health issues. And it turns out that we are going to be doing hospital visits a few times a week for the next 3 or 4 months, which was sort of it was not terrible, but it was sort of that piece of straw breaking the camel or whatever. So we had a family meeting last night. Long story short, everything's getting delayed and I'm so sorry about it. I have been stressed all morning about disappointing you guys and the fact that I've gotten on these lives and said, okay, really soon now the book's coming and the course is going to be open and, everybody hang on because I'm sure next time I talk to you, I'll have all of the information. And now I'm telling you that it's delayed. What's going to happen is we're going to wait until 2021 for everything. The book is going to come out in January, but it's not coming out before 2021. I'm just not in digital form, not in print form. That is going to give me enough time to make sure that I can get the print form to you, like the printed book to you if you want it at an affordable price and also a high quality print. The book is incredibly visual, not surprising, because the textbook, if some of you are thinking, what are you talking about? If you haven't been watching and you don't know what I'm talking about with the book, it's a textbook on using the Family Tree Notebook system. So the vast majority of the book is actually sample pages and talking about, this page is used in this way and look at this detail. So it's very visual and you need to be able to see everything clearly. And I want it to be in color so that, anyway, January, the book is going to come out. As the book comes out in January, I'm going to open the pre-sale for the course, which is not going to happen until February. And again, I'm disappointed, but it feels like a good decision for me. And I'm so sorry to have disappointed you if you were waiting for that. The good news about that is this frees up the holiday season for anybody who was worried about having to deal with, paying for your spot in the course during the holidays. It gives me more time to make sure that the course serves you guys in the best way that it can. I am still working on the answer to the question, is the course, what parts of the course are going to be designed for people who have mostly American records, and then what parts are international and more general. I know a lot of you don't live in America or don't have a ton of American history in your genealogy, and I don't want you to feel like you aren't getting what you wanted to out of the course. And of course, the delay is going to help me with the book. It also means that if you are taking a class through the Salt Lake Institute of Genealogy, SLIG classes start in January. I don't know how many of you that applies to. I know 2 of you have reached out to me to say, is this, what is the conflict going to be like? I don't want to take 2 classes at the same time. The good thing about my class is that it is going to be a combination of interaction, but it's pre-recorded videos, so it'll be at your own pace, and therefore if you had a conflict or something like that, it shouldn't be a problem. But I'm actually taking a SLIG course, so that's going to be easier for me too. And I realized that Roots Tech is happening in February, and that's actually, I think it'll be kind of a good thing because my course will start before then. Roots Tech doesn't happen until the end of February, but I am going to sort of do a special break in the middle of the course so that the people in the course, so that we can do Roots Tech together, where I won't have more of my content this week on the Family Tree Notebook stuff, but I will have content about Roots Tech and getting the most out of Roots Tech, which will be very unique to that one beta group that's happening during Roots Tech. But I'm actually looking forward to that because I have been looking for ways to make Roots Tech more interactive and to be able to enjoy it with people, even though I'm going to be enjoying Roots Tech at home, of course, by myself. So anyway, again, I'm sorry for the disappointment. I really need to stop coming on here and saying, okay, next week this is going to happen. I think I'm an eternal time optimist where my next week always seems super productive and also very free. And then I get to my next week and I'm like, what am I thinking? I'm homeschooling 3 children. I've lost my mind. Anyway, and the biggest relief for me in all of this, even though I'm disappointed, is that it does take some of the pressure off for the holidays. So I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about the holidays. I thought about doing a separate thing, but then I thought having the topic be the holidays are rough, let's discuss, sounded like such a terribly dismal topic that nobody would want to tune in for. But this year especially, the holidays can be rough, and I think there are things that we can do that are related to our, like the family tree work, that I think can actually really help. And I think in weird ways, there are also things that can be especially painful during the holidays. So one of the things that makes the holidays easier for me is to lighten the load, to make sure that I'm not overtaxed. I think that with this shift, we're actually going to be in great shape, even though we're all home and doing school and stuff like that. It's going to free up my schedule a little bit to create some new memories. But this year is going to be different because so for Thanksgiving, for example, here in America, Thanksgiving is a week from today. And we aren't seeing anybody, I think, for the first Thanksgiving ever for me. We're not going to be spending it with my family. My family, my immediate family, I guess, is my husband and my children. But my parents and siblings all live in the same city that I do. We all live about 20 minutes away from each other. So we've enjoyed that Thanksgiving gathering, even for the years that we haven't been able to get together with extended, aunts and uncles. But this year we aren't because of the pandemic, because my daughter's high risk and my mom's high risk, and nobody's really getting together. And, that's a tough switch, but we have found new ways to celebrate. We're going to have some new traditions. We're also going to do the Zoom Thanksgiving thing, check in with everybody. But as hard as that's going to be, I think Christmas will be harder. I really haven't ever had a Christmas where I didn't see my family at some point. Even when I was working at Walt Disney World in Florida, far away from my family, I actually flew back on Christmas Eve. I quit my job early because I just couldn't handle the thought of spending Christmas without my family. So the fact that we're not all getting together for Christmas has been kind of tough. But it has actually been inspiring for me because I do try to do family history focused gifts, not surprisingly. in the last few years, I've given out, last year I gave my siblings flash drives that had our home movies digitized along with popcorn and stuff so they could have like a home movie night. I've given out copies of the notebooks, or the highlight versions pretty much of the notebooks, so that people had copies of those. I've given framed photos. My favorite professional framing service is minted.com. That's not a plug because I'm an affiliate of theirs or anything. I actually just really enjoy Minted's work. I've gotten professional photos printed by other companies like MPix, MPIX. They do really good just plain photo printing if you wanted to order photo prints and then get them framed yourself. I've gotten photo prints done at Costco. I've gotten canvases and things like that. I have gotten some things from Shutterfly. I'm not a huge fan of Shutterfly. I could actually show you in a minute. I like Shutterfly for the ease of use. It's just that when it comes to like quality photo book printing, I prefer Blurb. And when it comes to making photo prints to hang on the wall, I prefer Minted. Anyway, I've done things like that in the past. And so because I won't be able to see my family, I've been thinking about, okay, what can I do to sort of create that sense of family connection? I have some plans. One of the things I'm going to do is I'm going to use the collection and heirloom pages to record the stories behind the ornaments that actually hang on our tree and some of the things that we have out. We have these little, sorry, I'm pointing at the phone, but you can't see me. We have these little things that are out in the house. A lot of them have family memories, and I'm going to photograph some of those things and share them. Because, as you get older, when you've got siblings, things get divided. So I have some things that my siblings would remember. This is going to be the second Christmas without my grandmother. And I have some things that were photographed when we were cleaning up her house. I have a whole box of letters that my grandfather had written to her that I digitized them, but I haven't transcribed them. I'm thinking about sharing those with my aunts. Anyway, thinking right now about these ways that I can share our family history with my family has helped the idea that I won't physically be with my family. So if you are in that position, I thought this could be a good time for you to start thinking about the work that you could do, the time and effort that you could gift during the holiday season. And then the other thing is that I have a strong belief that family history work can be healing when it comes to like pain and trauma. I feel like everybody has some painful part of their family. Sometimes it's a negative, interaction or a negative connection with a family member. And sometimes it's just the pain of loss and separation. For whatever reason. And I'm not actually, I have mentioned this in the past, but I'm not like a member of the LDS church or anything where I don't have religious reasons for doing family history. But I feel like family history healing has actually been kind of a spiritual experience for me because I do think that generational trauma can be a thing. I think that sometimes there's parts of our family history that just make it feel like because this thing happened, we can't possibly enjoy that part of our family, or maybe even like some family history research just isn't for us because something bad happened. I think that if you are feeling, those feelings, they can be heightened around the holidays, but I actually feel like doing family history work on your own, whether that's researching beyond the generations, beyond the moment that is unpleasant for you, I really do feel like that can be a healing experience. And if you're struggling with the holidays, I would actually encourage you to think about maybe doubling down and spending more time with your family history work. The connections with my living family obviously are incredibly important to me, but I have really strong feelings about my connections to my family that's passed on. And honoring that connection around the holidays, I don't know, I find that to be as important. So, like I said, this is sort of a funny topic that I didn't want to do a whole thing on. But while I was thinking about the fact that I'm trying to make the holiday season a little easier by delaying things and getting used to our new schedule, I was just thinking about the fact that the holiday season is going to be a challenge for a lot of us. And I hope that the pages are helpful in that, either in helping you make gifts or in helping you take the time to remember other holiday memories if you are struggling with being separated from family. It would be nice to think that the pages that I make are really, helping you through a season if it feels a little bit rough to be ending this year. I do think that for whatever reason, it's going to be a big sigh of relief when we all hit 2021. I realize that that's just a calendar date, but yeah, that really seems like a horizon point, doesn't it? So, okay, so because we were talking about it, let me just really quickly do a little photo book comparison. So you can see different printers. Do I know? This is such a good one, and I don't know who printed it. Well, I'll show it to you, but terrible resource. That's a different printer. This is a different printer. And where's my law school book? Oh, this is Oxford. That's a good one. Oh, sorry, all my books are trapped on the bookshelf. I'm one of those people that occasionally stores her books sideways, which looks very aesthetic, but then when you actually need the books, you have to basically take absolutely everything off of the shelf. Okay, here we go. There's a good selection. Okay, so talking about family history books. Shutterfly, I feel like, is incredibly popular. It's been around for a long time, and it's very, very easy to use. Shutterfly is the first service that I used to make photo books. This top book is a Shutterfly book. As you can see, it's beautiful. This is my daughter's first birthday party, and yes, I went over the top because she was my first child. My third kid didn't even have a first birthday. I mean, he did, but we didn't celebrate it. Anyway, Shutterfly makes it very easy to put these collages together and, just make a photo book like that. And you can see, let me get in. The photo quality isn't bad, but you can you see those little dots? I'm not sure if that's coming through on Facebook. The way Shutterfly books are printed, you can see more of the printing pixelation. Now, it's not terrible. This is not, if I received a Shutterfly book as a gift, I'd be very excited. I made Shutterfly books for years. It's just that if you really get close, you can see more of the pixelation. Again, I'm not sure if that's coming through on Facebook. You might have to take my word for it. This is also a Shutterfly book. This is from when I was studying in Oxford. And it has this fun cutout, and I'm positive that they still do this. Now you can see this one, I used the text to tell stories. That's another thing that Shutterfly is great at. This is also a layout. Can you guys see the background? It's like a travel layout, and it has these little travel frames. So that's another, if you don't feel like you're up to designing things like that on your own, that can be a fun thing that Shutterfly does. It's just that once again, you can see the photo pixelation a little bit. So I don't, dislike Shutterfly books, but I don't use them anymore. And part of that is because I switched over to Blurb books, because Blurb books can be much thicker and they turn out very nice. This is a Blurb book. This is how we printed our wedding album. It is a soft cover book. So I was able to fit in many pages, even though I didn't want the book to be, gigantic. We actually had this book printed so that we had a home reception, and we had it printed so that we could have it shared. So I didn't want it to be giant, but there's some pixelation, but you can get really close to these photos and not, well, that was actually a bad one because that one has grain on purpose. But not see too much pixelation. It's subtle, but I think that the color and quality is just a little bit higher. It's also, they don't have the same frames and things like that Shutterfly does. And again, in Shutterfly, you can remove all of that, but I actually liked this magazine style look a little bit more. So I have used Blurb repeatedly for photo books. This is one from a company called Artifact Uprising, which is That's their logo. It's a small paper book. It's intentionally faded. It's paper. Just, I mean, it's not glossy at all. It's matte paper. And it's a faded, kind of more old-fashioned looking book. But they do these fun little keepsake books. Sorry, it's hard for me to open. Okay. These are really simple to make. Artifact Uprising is a little expensive, but the books turn out really nice. They're really light and small, and they have this kind of more modern matte paper look to them. It's just that they, you know, they are really small, and as you can see, my kids love looking at pictures of themselves, so this is creased. My son actually decided to chew on this when he was younger, so as far as durability, this is not the most durable photo book. We get these printed because I don't mind if the kids look through them. I want to give them a way to see their photos. But yeah, is this going to survive until my kids are out of the house? I don't know. I need to stop chewing on it. And then this is the one that I'm so sorry, I don't have the printer. But I can tell you that it's a, when they talk about like what kind of pages do you want in your photo book, sometimes you can get flat lay pages or like board pages, and they're not thin. They're these thick, can you see how thick that is? They're these hard, thick pages, and flat lay means, see how there's almost no crease there and the photo just continues? So a nice flat lay photo book is going to have these hard, you know, these stiff pages and almost no break. And I really, really love the way that that looks. I think that it's the most high-end way to do a photo book, but there's a huge downside to that, which is that I think this book is maybe 15 pages, you know, if you can kind of see, and look at how thick it is. It's as thick as my wedding book, which is something like 130 pages, because they just take up a lot of space. And so this would be this is the kind of book that we actually did for my grandmother's memorial. I don't have a copy of that book because we made a few copies for the memorial service, and then my mother and her sisters divided them up and they have them. But, you know, this was beautiful for the memorial service because we were able to pick just a selection of photos from my grandmother's life and have this really high-end, incredibly durable book. Let me flip this around. But that was because it was very, you know, specific to just, okay, let's pick the 10 or 15 best photos from her life. And because we knew it was going to be handled by a lot of people at the service. If you're looking for a photo book to tell a long story, to share a lot of family photos, or to get all of the photos from 1 year off of your phone and into a photo book, it's not the best choice because you just can't share that many photos. So, you know, really specific, if I had a memorial, if I was showing some engagement photos, or graduation photos, something like that, you know, photos from one anniversary party, I think this is a beautiful choice. If I was going to be documenting an entire story, an entire year, I would personally go with Blurb because you can add so many more photos. And if I wasn't comfortable with photo software and I felt like I needed some support with uploading, some really clear instructions and some design help, I would go with Shutterfly. And if I wanted a really modern, semi-disposable book that I kind of paid a lot for, I would go with Artifact Uprising. And I don't mean that to be disparaging because I really like Artifact Uprising, but they do a very specific product, and it's not designed to share a ton of family history and be durable for a long time. So, okay, this was an incredibly odd kind of jumping around live, so I'm going to let you go. I will be teaching something tomorrow, so if you can tune in tomorrow for our Friday check-in. Tomorrow's the day that I share outside resources, and I want to show you how to use one. So I will talk to you guys tomorrow.